The Spanish Announce Table.
It is episode 379, Tom. We are inching ever closer to episode 400. We got to figure out what the hell we're going to do for that. Of the Spanish Announce Table. Everyone, welcome. And I mean everyone is welcome except you. You know who you are. But
you know who you are.
You do know who you are. I won't.
We actually said your name that one time in that one episode, so we actually do have that one person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen back if you didn't know who that was.
Yeah, go back and listen to every episode ever and figure it out. Figure it out. You can join the club. You can join the Table Nation, and you can do that in a myriad of ways besides just going back and listening to old episodes. You can tweet at us. Use hashtag #TweetTheTable. You can follow us on the Twitter at Table Show. You subscribe to the podcast. You can catch us live as we simul-stream on YouTube and Twitter. And Tom, WrestleMania happened. We got to talk some about that. We're not a WWE primarily focused show anymore in these days because it's not that great.
Sucks.
But the biggest event of the year, and there's some notable things we'll discuss throughout the show. And, of course, we will talk about AEW Dynamite because that was a fun show. And we've got some news in the pro wrestling world, and we've got some Tweet the Tables like I mentioned before. And God damn it, all of that is jam-packed into your favorite podcast coming up over the next hour, 2 hours or so. But what is going on in Tom's life? How's Tom doing?
Tim, it is the Spanish Announce Table. Run with it or run from it, motherfuckers. We are going to be having the time of our lives tonight. We got to talk some things about WrestleMania. We got to talk some Dynamite. We're going to hear from Table Nation. We're going to hear some news. We're going to educate you. We're going to have fun. We're going to cry. We're going to laugh. We might hug. Who knows? It's a crazy episode on Twitter and on YouTube and on your podcast listening devices. I tell you what, let's get to the news.
Let's do it. Let's get to the news. Do I have the news up? See? Yeah. Bobby Heenan School of Journalism here. Let's go into the first news story. WWE is teaming with NBC Universal to create a new drama based on the operations of a wrestling promotion. The new show.
Yeah.
Right?
What the fuck
wonder where they came up with
that?
the idea for this. The new
Well,
show
who
titled...
thinks that they know how to do it?
Yeah. You're right, yeah. I'm sure it's full of drama, though. The new show titled Pinned will see Vince McMahon, Kevin Dunn, Chris Kaiser, writer-producer Craig O'Neill, and Fox Sports reporter Tom Rinaldi act as executive producers for the series. A description of the show is as follows. You all right?
Tom Rinaldi? Tom Rinaldi is in this? Do you remember Tom Rinaldi?
He's the executive producer for the series.
I know, but do you remember him in ESPN doing those long-form features at the fucking Masters?
Mm-hmm.
Now he's in our sewage?
Yeah. All right, description of the show. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
An adrenalized, upstairs, downstairs soap that gives a behind-the-scenes look at a fictional wrestling promotion. Fictional, wink. And the unforgettable characters that populate it. Pinned offers a front row seat into the eccentric wrestling culture and the mayhem that exists between the locker room and the boardroom. WWE is also developing the scripted series The United States of America versus Vince McMahon.
Christ.
Done on Bloomhouse Television, which is about the steroid trial in 1994 involving McMahon and the company. Man, they love to talk about that steroid trial. They love that.
Okay, let's start with that show. First off, you dumb motherfucker. You weren't Larry Flint in the sense that you were fighting for some type of art to be displayed across the world, whether people agreed or disagreed with it.
Right,
you were fucking illegally distributing steroids to people.
Yeah,
that's all it was.
Doing something in protest.
Yes, this was not some type of
I understand
take
the
a
case
stand
was
for
the
what
United States of America versus Vince
But
McMahon.
fuck him. It was steroids. Yeah, it was. I'm illegally distributing steroids to my workers and telling them they should be taking it.
And
allegedly.
He was. Fuck.
Yeah. But again, it doesn't matter, in my opinion. The whole steroid thing never mattered because, fun fact, it's scripted and You can look however you want as long as you're not physically hurting people, right? Like you shouldn't be doing that in fighting sports because if you're bigger, faster, stronger, that could kill someone. So if it's all scripted, just theater performances, which it is, fucking, it's not a sport. We've gone through that discussion before. Then look however you want. Take as many fucking fun drugs as you can because I don't give a shit. If you want to do it, that's your life. Now, that being said, I think it's bullshit because it was just what the trial was called, not the actual stance for something heroic, like, Rosa Parks refusing to go to the back of the bus. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. So get the fuck over yourself. Second, this show pinned. I am so excited for it to be canceled after 3 episodes. Who the fuck cares and is going to think it's interesting that they have their hand in what's captivating for a wrestling promotion? They can't even fucking write a show week to week before the show is due. They're doing it while it's on air. So why the fuck do I think this show is going to be cool?
Will probably be better for that because of that. But this whole like fictional wrestling thing, like they are going to squeeze in so many of these stories that we've already heard, but we're just going to get McMahon's spin on it, which is going to be just not real to any extent. So yeah, I'm not super excited about that one at all. Not really.
No, look, as fun as the Rock show is, I've caught a couple episodes, but it's not must-see TV. Even if Penn does reinvent the wheel for what this show could be, like, if they do hit a home run, I still don't think that that's going to move the needle.
Yeah. In fact, I watched all of the Young Rocks in the first season. When the second season come around, I haven't sought it out. And that's
really? Was the first season good?
Yeah, it was all right.
I've just seen some episodes.
I was looking to see what stories he told of the old folks and all that, but at that point, that stuff runs dry, right? Like, you can only see him emulate Andre the Giant, 7 times or whatever before you're like, all right, I get it.
Yeah, the only thing I thought was interesting is just who he bumped shoulders with. So, for example, I saw one episode where he went to the University of Miami, and one of the offensive coordinators was Ed Orgeron, who would then later be the head coach of LSU and win a national championship. So I thought that was interesting, right? Like, okay, he knew him, but the story itself of being hazed by the, upperclassmen, I mean, we've seen that song and dance for hundreds of years, So, anyhow.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to the next news story. The Ormond Beach Observer in Florida, I don't know if I said that correctly, the Ormond part, not the Florida part, reported today that WWE Hall of Famer Tammy Sunny Sitch was involved in a 3-car accident that led to the death of one of the other drivers on March 25th. The report states Sitch failed to stop at 8:28 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and crashed into a stopped vehicle, which then crashed into a vehicle that was stopped in front of it. 8:28.
Wow.
The driver of the stopped car... Do what?
I was going to say, that's pretty fast to go. Like, how fast are you going to hit someone to then have them hit someone else?
Right. And cause... Yeah. Hit someone, like, yeah, you can bump, but, like, to hit someone and cause a death. Anyway, the driver of the stopped car struck by Sitch was pronounced dead after being rushed to Halifax Health Medical Center. Sitch was hospitalized as well, but later released. The driver who was killed in the accident, I won't say the name. You can look that up if you want. A search warrant was approved and executed to obtain a blood sample of Sitch. The police are using the sample to investigate if she was impaired at the time of the crash. Toxicology results are pending. And I think we've written a story like this several times throughout the show, not the death part, but I think we know the results of that toxicology report already.
Yeah, I mean, again, hopefully not, right? Someone lost their life. I would hope that it wasn't due to someone being impaired. Right. That's very tragic. It's very sad. It just, in the history of this show, it feels like the only time that we talk about Sunny is in these kind of stories, and it's just sad. At this point, I don't even know, because we've even talked about how she's checked into rehab and she's gone to jail for, violating probation and things of that nature. So I don't know. It just feels like one of the things where we're going to hear the real bad story and then be like, well, we kind of saw it coming. The thing that I hope for is, again, whatever comes out of this comes out of it. But then a DDP or a Jake the Snake can like grab her and take her to the whatever that DDP house is called or whatever. And just, let's get you back on track with a clear mindset. Now, again, we don't know the results of these. This could have literally been someone's running late to an appointment. You speed through some things and it happens. And again, that's not great, but I'm just saying it could be that. But as you said, we've heard these stories before, so it's not going to be shocking if it turns out that those reports or those investigations into her blood alcohol level may come back a little dirty.
Well, listen, this is easier said than done.
Oh, of course.
Get help, man. To anybody listening, if you're struggling with similar issues, like.
Well, and especially her, that's where I'm hoping that a DDP or, Buff Bagwell, I've just seen recently on Twitter, he's now at the DDP house and he's going through his own, rehab process that I don't necessarily think it revolves around drugs. Now, I don't know his full story.
There was some alcohol. There was an arrest, wasn't there? A DUI or something?
I don't remember,
recently.
But
I mean, he's got trauma.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So he's going through his stuff at the DDP house. So it doesn't have to be the Jake the Snake doing every drug that's around him kind of story. It can be just someone's cry for help, which, again, seems to be sunny right now.
Yeah, it is sad. I agree with you. It's sad. All right, we'll go to our final news story here. Whew. NXT Tag Team Champion Nash Carter was released from WWE this week after an old picture surfaced in social media that shows Carter with a Hitler mustache and performing a Nazi salute. Carter has also been accused of physical domestic abuse by his wife, Kimberly. Nash Carter and others on his behalf have challenged these accusations of domestic abuse and have said Kimberly is merely angry at being served divorce papers. So that part, I mean, hey,
we don't know.
Seen our pictures that she posted online of her face beat up. Now, she's a professional wrestler, so that's his statement back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how many times she's got to that's not on me. She's mad at me for this stuff. And then I think because of her, somehow these pictures came out. I'm not 100% sure if that's correct or not, but these photos come out of him clear as day, Hitler mustache, Nazi salute, and you're losing your job when you do that, right? Like, and I know people will be like, hey, 10 years old, 10 years or whatever, right? And I hear you on that, right? Like, you could have been a stupid kid hanging around with wrong people and gotten a dumb photo like that, right? So, I mean, I'm not gonna say never again do whatever, but like, I would think WWE would also have asked that question, right? Like, how recent was this? Are you a fucking Nazi or not? You know what I mean? Like, what do we got to do here? And to let him go leads me to believe they believe is probably warranted to let him go. And so I'm not feeling too bad for the guy at the moment, if I got to be honest.
Well, and also I think from a WWE perspective, he's not Roman Reigns, right? So are we really wanting to fight a battle, even if it is true, to go through this malarkey, right? Like, maybe not, right?
Right.
The thing that I think is interesting, though, is this was reported yesterday, correct?
I think so, yeah.
So you would think, now again, who the fuck knows with this backward ass company, but you would think they would have that information, do their own research and investigation, and then make a decision. So then, I don't know, maybe have them lose the fucking titles at your Stand and Deliver pay-per-view, because now it looks fucking weird for a viewer to say like, hey, where's the other guy's tag team partner? They're the tag team champs. So again, that's the part where we go back to the first story of pinned, the wacky things of being a promoter. It's like, tell that story, you fucking idiots.
Something else that I like for WWE, if you're going to say, hey, if any social media stuff pops up from years ago that shows you doing like a Nazi salute, they had to fire that other girl who was dating Seth Rollins at the time for this, remember? Then we're going to get rid of you. Well, it is not difficult to have an IT team that can like scan everybody's social media pretty quickly and look for things that might be a problem. Why aren't you already doing this? How did this guy manage to get here? Right? Like, now that's what I mean. Like, I don't know if this was something hidden before that was now not hidden because of this spout with his spouse. I don't know of that part of it, to be honest. So who knows? But
yeah, right. That kind of stuff. But again, it's just like the personal stuff with whoever this guy is and his girlfriend or wife or whatever it is. I don't know. Yeah, that stuff I don't have opinion on because I don't know, right? We don't have all the information.
There's not enough info out either for anybody to have an opinion on it, if we're being honest.
That is not what I'm focused on. I'm focused on WWE. Again, you would hope would be doing their due diligence as far as investigating this. And then if doing so, they fired him on a Tuesday, then the Saturday or whatever Stand and Deliver was, Saturday or Sunday before, you just have him drop the titles. And guess what? If he's cleared, you have him fucking win him back again. Like, right. What a fucking, they're so incompetent at every single level of this company. I wouldn't be shocked if the damn front desk secretary answers the phone and accidentally says WCW. Like, they're so fucking dumb. Like, tell me the smart people in that fucking room. Who is it?
WWF. God shit. WWE. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, at this point, I get it. Oh, the money that they're making. That's greed. That's greed, motherfuckers. Anyone can be greedy if you just want to be an asshole. That doesn't prove anything to me. What I want to know at this point in 2022, with the whole history of 2020 and 2021 and the firings and the bad business practices, and now we're going into this with this drop the ball decision where your current champion has to be released. Who is the smart person in the fucking room at that company at any goddamn level? Any of them. Like, you guys are such an embarrassment. Like, that's why I don't like any of the stuff. The stories suck, which we'll get to in WrestleMania, but the company itself is like abysmal.
Let's just kind of transition away from the news and into this. WrestleMania was
here. Yeah.
And we're talking about highest grossing WrestleMania. You brought up a good point offline. Is that accounting for inflation? But that aside, let's say it is. The product is bad. If you talk to anybody who has any kind of background or history in performance art storytelling, they will tell you this shit is bad. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's not good, but yet it's making more money than it ever made in history. So, like, there's a time where you just kind of can't. There's a time where you start shitting gold nuggets, but it justifies every stupid decision you have. Does that make sense? Like, they think everything I've done is leading me to more money, so fuck it, I'm going to keep doing it. And it just gets bad. This is what happened to. This isn't happening to WWE, and the scale is different, the time is different. But like when WCW just had too much money, and was making too much money to understand how fucked up they started appearing, right? Like. And I just don't, I'm kind of, when Vince is gone and the power struggle that inevitably happens, that may eventually start to be the downfall of the company because, like, there is a clear cut, this guy is in charge of everything right now. And when he's gone, that likely won't be the case. It's not how corporate structure is really built anymore. And so that's where the infightings and the politics and the you know what I mean, the stuff starts to play out later. So I don't know, man. It just, nobody seems to be making competent decisions that follow a logical sense.
Well, and to me, with WWE making the most money they've ever made before and all of that, I think that's happenstance. I think they lucked into that because the way television has gone is that everything can be watched at their own time, except for live events, football, baseball, basketball, most sports. And then with pro wrestling, because of dirt sheets and things like that, you want to watch that live because if you don't, 3 seconds after it happens on Twitter, you're going to see 10 tweets about it, right? If your interest is pro wrestling, you're going to see it from someone, whether it's hate or it's love, you're going to see it, right? I think of it like when the pandemic happened and toilet paper prices just went rocketed over the moon.
Companies didn't suddenly start making toilet paper better.
Exactly. And WWE just didn't start making the best stories. They just happened to be in the live entertainment industry, which TV is trying to not have people cut the cord. So they're paying
And they were there
buckets
first.
of
They had
money.
the deals, and McMahon
Yeah.
knows how to like secure exclusive rights and deals and stuff like
Right.
that. So when the time came, he was the only player in town.
Exactly. And so, yeah, you know, yeah, they're the toilet paper of making money, where it's just, yeah, because that's what everyone fucking was going after. Like, you just happened to do it. It wasn't, you weren't the genius. It's live entertainment, and that's what your fucking thing is. So that's where the money went. Lucky you. Like, there's no
They're
fucking
the toilet paper
skill
of
in that.
television.
Yeah, they really are. It's fucking embarrassing. But
I might name the episode that.
I think you should. Let's talk about WrestleMania. Because again, we're going to talk about the good show, AEW Dynamite, in just a moment. But we got to get through the sewage of WrestleMania, because I thought it was fine. I did. I think the event itself, if I went, like if Tim, if you were like, hey, as a 9-year podcast anniversary gift, we're going to WrestleMania, and we went to WrestleMania, I would leave there going like, that was fun, right? Now, at no point did I say like, I have to watch Monday because of X. Nothing of that. It was just a fun, silly pro wrestling event. Here's what I want to say before we get into Tweet the Tables. My observation. If Pat McAfee, Logan Paul, and to a lesser extent, but still Johnny Knoxville, is going out there cutting it up, looking like they could win the fucking Intercontinental title next week, maybe you pro wrestlers need to fucking guard the business better, because it doesn't make you look that great when Pat McAfee looks like he could be the fucking US champion, right? Or Logan Paul looks like he could, you know, be the secondary story on SmackDown in 3 months. Like, you guys have been saying you're going to be doing this, and you've been doing this since you were a kid, and these motherfuckers aren't doing this full time or even really paying attention to it, and they're killing it.
Here's what I don't think is a dumb decision, right? If WWE is like, if they were to become self-aware and be like, we don't know how to make new stars anymore, but if they get a guy like Logan Paul who's like, hey, I did that was fun, I would throw every fucking dollar at him to get him to do it full time. He has a built-in fan base. He's athletic. You train him,
well,
and then become the fucking Dancing with the Stars of pro wrestling, and just fucking, like, if you can't come up with the fucking characters, give me somebody who already is one. Johnny Knoxville's old, and that's dumb, right?
Yeah.
And that was just a shtick. And
right, that was to a lesser extent.
Pat McAfee, like, okay, NFL player.
Pat McAfee killed it.
You know what I mean?
But he killed it.
He's a dude. So, like, I just, you know what I mean? Like, if at least there's a personality there, but don't just put him in a one-off with the fucking Miz, and then I'm never going to see him again.
Well, I think for them, they're like, I'm not putting my body through it. I'll do a podcast, or I'll do my, you know, live YouTube show, and that's going to make me just as much money.
You would have to outbid that. You'd have to be like, listen,
yeah, but
do this for 2
right.
years and fucking make 50 mil or something, you know?
But I guess my point is, and I'm only using these guys as the example, I'm not saying it's the fact, but if Logan Paul is coming in looking every bit the same as Kofi Kingston, what does that say about Kofi Kingston? You get what I'm saying? Like, that's where maybe these fucking pro wrestlers need to start boxing out these celebrities, because Bad Bunny, Shaquille O'Neal. Now, Shaquille O'Neal wasn't like, he was danced around, right? But like, Bad Bunny did some good shit. Logan Paul now did some good shit. Pat McAfee did it with Adam Cole, and now did it with Austin Theory. So it's like, hey, you pro wrestlers that keep telling us it's so hard, and I've been doing this my whole life. Well, and just like, you don't understand the difficult, like, motherfuckers, it doesn't look that hard if this part-time YouTuber came in and did it. Now, I know it's just a one-off, but he had more charisma than 98% of the other matches. And so that's what I'm saying is, like, if he's just doing this when he's also, you know, training for Floyd Mayweather, doing a full-time podcast, and then running around with his younger brother doing dumb shit, maybe you're not that fucking talented.
Well, and let's think about this, right? If you're like, hey, let's capitalize on the Bad Bunny. The kids love the Bad Bunny. Let's capitalize on the Logan Paul because the kids love the Logan Paul. Why don't you pay somebody who's like of that age to kind of come in and explain what it is about those guys that makes them cool to the kids, and start tailoring your talent roster around people who share those fucking characteristics.
Yeah. I mean, right. That would be from the business side. I just thought the entire time that, like, if I'm the next indie darling, I'm fucked. Because these celebrities can do it better than I can, right? I've been fighting 6 years in the armory trying to just get WWE to look at me and
What
fucking,
happened to the podcast
you know, the
world?
next.
Podcasts
Right.
were a
And
hot fire, and then every celebrity made one, and now nobody can, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's like, oh, I'll do a podcast. And it's like, you're a dork. You know?
right, exactly.
Not this one, of course.
And so, no, this is the best.
World
But
famous.
that was my observation is after 2 nights with all of the celebrity involvement, I just thought like maybe pro wrestlers have been doing the smoke and mirrors with us, telling about how difficult and how intricate these matches are. And, oh, let's call it on the fly, brother. Like maybe fucking not. Maybe not.
My main takeaway was everything we said leading into it is that it just is there. It's okay. It's not great. They lean too hard on nostalgia and just we're like, Cody Rhodes is back, right? We'll get into that. We'll talk about that too. Where it's like, Cody Rhodes is back. It was like, oh my God, what story did they tell about that? Seth Rollins was looking for an opponent forever, and McMahon just named him the night of when the music hit. And that's like, that's it? I'm like, that. And everybody's like, yeah, but the match was great. And I'm like, again, Logan Paul can go out there and do the fucking moves. So, like, the moves don't fucking matter. Give me the fucking storyline and the rising action and the conflict and the fucking... Come on. And, like,
and the payoff. Yeah.
Like, what? Like, that was the big reveal. It's like, and it's Cody Rhodes. Again, if I only watch WWE, which is what McMahon professes, right? Some people only watch WWE and they only watch Raw, not SmackDown. Then I thought Cody Rhodes died. So, like, why would I give a fuck that Stardust is back here all of a sudden with a weird tattoo on his neck? Like, wouldn't that just be like, oh, yeah, I remember that guy. Wasn't he in the fucking Legacy? So, like, that was my main takeaway. It's just, it's cementing more of the, like, they really are just, like, spinning the wheel, like, stop it and be like, oh, okay. They're pulling names out of the hat. They're just like, yeah, this match.
Yeah, and they can't even explain the reasoning behind the decisions, right? As far as a storyline, I get it with like, hey, we wanted the AEW guy to take a shot at AEW. I understand the real implications of why they signed Cody, right? But in the kayfabe world, why would Cody agree to a match with Seth Rollins? And again, was it just the opportunity?
Well, yeah, like in the kayfabe world,
like
yeah, just like, where did Cody Rhodes go? Why is he back? Why is he suddenly got a fucking tattoo, and why is suddenly everybody fucking cheering for him? Like, I don't.
Well, and but like, and okay, so he wanted to come back. That's great, cool. But yeah, did he say I want to fight Seth Rollins, and that's why Seth Rollins got on the WrestleMania card, or was it Seth Rollins got on the WrestleMania card, and hey, we need someone that has a warm body, and Cody Rhodes raised his hand? We don't even know the backstory of how the match.
What we know is McMahon
there's
said,
nothing to it.
Sure. We know McMahon said, sure, Seth Rollins, you'll get a match. All you had to do was ask. Stop being a fucking weirdo, which is fine, right? Great, fine.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
good storytelling. McMahon hates weirdos, and here he is being a weirdo. But he's like, you'll get one of my choosing. Normally, that's when McMahon's annoyed, he sends out a killer who destroys somebody. It's like Amos, right?
Yeah.
So, but when we get to Raw, and we'll talk more about Cody and Tweet Table here. When we get to Raw, Cody's like, I'm back because I want to do what my father never could. Surprisingly, I don't know if you were aware of this. Dusty Rhodes is dead.
What?
Yeah. And so he said,
wow.
And so he says, right.
Wow.
So that's why it's the American Nightmare. You see what it was? The American Nightmare. This is a nightmare. So he said, says, well, I'm here to do what my father never did. Be like, well, then. So here's what happened. Vince McMahon is in his office one day. They get the paperwork. It's like, hey, we're talking to Cody Rhodes again. He wants to come back. He wants to work for us again. Be like, why does he want to work for us again? Well, he wants to do what his father never could. Be like, okay, that's great. I got the perfect spot for him. Seth Rollins was bothering me later, and I need a random opponent. That's a shitty story. Like, that's dumb.
But that's not even, but we're just guessing. That's the thing. That's my point, is we're just guessing that's the story. No one even fucking put the effort to tell us that was the story. I could even be like, that was dumb.
For me to even get that piece of the puzzle for me to make the connection.
Right. But like, If Vince would have literally said that this is the story, I'm just annoyed by Seth. This fucking guy wants to work for the company. There you go. WrestleMania, get out of my face. Okay, well, that's kind of dumb, but like, it's a story. Now I understand why they're going to punch each other in the face. But if they just walk into a ring and,
hey, a WrestleMania win gets me high on the, in the
rankings. But none of that was explained to the audience. Right. None of that was explained to the audience. It was just, hey,
but so help
so
me, Tom,
dumb.
Apparently, as we keep finding out, the audience doesn't give a shit that this wasn't explained to them. I know nobody will tell us why.
Do you have that Cody Rhodes tweet table? Let's just get into that one first.
We got two, so I'll start with that one, with one of them here. At Devil Vamp says, finally, I can hear Cody's music. I can actually hear the lyrics. It's a freaking miracle. Hashtag tweet the table. Now, Devil Vamp is always shit on AEW for their production, which we have as well, and you can't hear their music well. And so that's fun storytelling there. And I think it's interesting, right? He brought his music over. Like, they work a little, more friendly than they let on in the I think there's a friendly rivalry going on amongst the two companies, right? Where WWE's like, look, they're not, like, we're making 10 times what they make, Like, we don't give a shit. But like, they also don't want to lose, right? Like, in ratings. So they're going to like, but like, sure, right? We'll buy the music from you because we don't have to worry about looking like we're, second to you or anything like that. So that was interesting. He comes with his music and it's kind of the same gimmick, right? We just plucked Cody Rhodes from AEW right into to WWE.
And that was somewhat interesting. So let's move past the plot holes and the inconsistencies and just the stupidity of the kayfabe booking of this match, right? Let's move past that. I did think it was interesting and somewhat surreal that, just like you said, it was the AEW wrestler, 100% get up, music, move style, finisher, everything. It was an AEW wrestler wrestling at WrestleMania. That just on like visually was captivating. I will say that it was like, wow, there is no difference between this Cody Rhodes and the Cody Rhodes we saw lose to Sammy Guevara in that ladder match, however many weeks ago, right? That's pretty wild that WWE didn't touch it at all. Pretty crazy. Now, Cody Rhodes. This is where the disconnect happens for me. Well, actually, let's read the second one, and then maybe he touches on it, and then I'll go on my
at
rant.
The Iceman Forever, which, by the way, we haven't heard from the Iceman in a while.
Iceman! Yeah!
Iceman. Says, even though it was a great promo, I kind of was expecting a little more from Cody. With that said, I'm hoping for some awesome things during this run. Hashtag tweet the table. And yeah, I'm hoping for awesome things too. I do think Cody Rhodes in his AEW run fell flat and it didn't hit. But I've always thought Cody Rhodes had a lot of potential and a lot of charisma to be a star. I just think what came off in AEW and kind of felt like was his real personality is how it came off. I could be wrong. Could have all been worked. Could be a major mark here for that, right? But was that he really wants everybody to view him like the American dream, Dusty Rhodes, and they don't, right? And like, not that they're like far from that, but they're not right there, right? We're all like, yeah, we like Cody Rhodes. We like Seth Rollins too. And we like this guy too.
Yeah.
But he wants like everybody to be like, it's John Cena just came in the place, right? Like that. And it felt like he was a little perturbed by that. And so his Raw promo, as we've said, he can cut a good promo and it was good, but it kind of felt that same way. And so now I'm a little worried that like we're going to do the same thing.
So a couple things that I want to respond to. One, I thought his AEW run was phenomenal. The thing that kicked him in the ass, and I think I said this a few times on the podcast while he was doing it, is he ran through all of his stories so quick, right? He had the best friend turn on him in Shawn Spears. Then he had the protege turn on him in MJF. Then he lost his championship opportunity to Chris Jericho. Like, he did all of that in a year and a half. By the time like he was up for his contract, it was like, dude, Kenny Omega still has 13 more stories, and I'm making that number up, but like he still has 13 more stories we can tell with him. Hangman has 100 more stories we can tell with him. Cody, we kind of had the 10 ready for you, and we told all 10, and now that's why people are booing you, because we're done. Right. Like, creatively, we're done.
But this is what's good about multiple companies existing now, right? Like, we can do
Right.
this. Go
Yes.
tell other stories
Now-
with other people. Even if they're similar stories, it will be new
Right.
characters, you know?
Now, with Cody, the thing that instantly fell flat for me on Monday was that the coolest thing for me watching Cody in AEW was the chip on his shoulder. The guy that said, I'm outside of the machine and I'm going to make it. I'm going to be the one that, puts a company on my back or puts a storyline on my back and makes money and tells you I fucking did it. And that can be admirable and that can be cool. But then when you go into the machine and you say, I'm doing nah, that's when
It feels disingenuous.
I'm not cheering
it
for
feels
that.
like it was all
Yeah.
disingenuine. And I mean,
Now,
look, hey man,
the other
money is
thing,
money. I know it, and
right, of course.
I get it.
The other thing though, that's came to my mind after watching some of the interviews, if you watch his interview with Ariel Helwani, for example, or if you even just watch that promo he did on Monday, I think there's a little bit of smoke and mirrors to Cody and how dumb he actually is. And I'm not trying to be insulting in that way. But if you talk like this and you say, hey, Tim, I'm a well-read person. Let me tell you about a quote I just recently came by. It's from a book that you've never fucking heard of. And I'm going to tell you that quote. Isn't that interesting? Right. And then you go you didn't say anything. And also, fun fact, you fucking quoted Kung Fu Panda and not even a fucking book. That's a fact. Go watch the promo. That's what he did. So because he has a presence and cadence, it seems more put together than, let's just say, Sammy Guevara, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that he's any smarter or saying anything more interesting.
This is similar to The Rock. I know that may sound a little off-putting, but The Rock's promos were amazing because The Rock has timing and charisma and he knows how to capture the crowd. But if other people went out and said what The Rock was saying, we'd be like, you are saying a bunch of fucking nonsense.
Right.
It's childish humor. It's nonsense, right? But yet the cool guy in the room says it's suddenly different, right? And that's kind of thing is Cody Rhodes has gotten some of that down, right? He is Dusty Rhodes' son. He did grow up watching this. He did grow up wanting to emulate his father, and so he's probably honed that craft. But that substance isn't quite there like Dusty had. Because again, Dusty lived a different life than Cody Rhodes did. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Well,
it's just now those quotes just seem hollow from him this time around for whatever reason. And I think the reason is because when he said, we're starting AEW to do a revolution and, I'm never going to leave here. And I understand things can change. I'm not saying things can't change. But then when you say coming to WWE was the easiest thing in the world. Everyone thought it was hard. Totally easy. I think you're just saying that to be interesting. I think it was fucking difficult for you to leave. I don't think anyone now again, maybe he's a psychopath, but I don't think anyone can just be hey, I created something. I'm going to fucking leave it. I don't give a shit. I'm out of here. I put a lot of work into that. Yeah, I'm out. You're a psycho if that was so easy to leave. Anyhow.
Yeah.
What else do we got? Yeah. What else?
Yeah. All right. We'll talk some other Mania tweet the tables here. At Mr. Fourth Row says, I'm old enough to remember Sanford and Son, the phrase build a better mousetrap, and when WrestleMania had an attendance of 101,000 people. Hashtag I was there. Hashtag tweet the table. Because, I think, did they try to say there was 100,000 people there? They didn't, did they? I think there was 70,000 people there.
No, they said it the first time. They said it the first time they were in Dallas. Right. Was when it was Roman and Triple H. They said it was 101,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, here's the thing that I'll say about the mousetrap.
The entire stadium. Right?
Oh. Now, who knows how many of those are comps? But anyhow.
If they're $25 seats and right.
Right. 2-for-1s. I will say this about Johnny Knoxville. Credit to that weird, dumb motherfucker and his life experiences to instantly know what was wrong with the mousetrap and how to fix it in real time. Did you catch that? He's been around mousetraps for so fucking long that he instantly identified, oh, it's this. I got to push that and then it'll go.
Which is weird because, I imagine they've come to know troubleshooting and maybe know how to think through things before they start rolling tape of, hey, if this happens, then we do this. If this happens, then we do this. But correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of the Jackass stuff isn't necessarily live, right? They may record it live to tape, but like, yeah, that idea that he can think on the fly and be like, we need to fucking cover this back together. Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting that the only person in the 80,000 people that were in that arena that knew how to fix that issue that quickly was Johnny Knoxville. It was just so silly. Yeah, silly. Credit to Sami Zayn too. Man, he looked like an idiot the entire time and did awesome.
Oh, but yeah, I mean, and look, I mean, yes, the theme of Jackass was prevalent in the match, right, with all the stunts and the stuff. But like, and credit to Sami Zayn for not looking too out of place in that.
Yeah, he did well. Did great.
He did well. At Theo75 says, "Wow, Steve Austin. I was expecting Will Sasso dressed up like Stone Cold Steve Austin." Hashtag tweet the table. Okay. Man, this one kind of made me sad.
It started slow, and I texted you like, God damn, he's moving like molasses. I will credit him for this. They did pick it up, and it looked like, if you just tuned in, once they reached the outside and he took like that suplex on the concrete, that started to look like your bread and butter Stone Cold Steve Austin match. It didn't start that way. It was like a 1998 S10 pickup. It took a while to get to second gear, but once they did, then it was a smooth ride, right?
Yeah.
Tim, this is what does no one fucking get how dumb that whole storyline was? Again, kayfabe, we're jumping in as if this is real. Stone Cold Steve Austin is a man who we know will kick anyone's ass or fight anyone at the drop of a hat.
For the smallest of justifications.
For nothing.
Right.
For nothing.
He'll make one up.
Exactly. He'll just be like, I don't like the way you looked at me. He beat up Taz during the invasion because he wore orange and didn't wear the fucking t-shirt that everyone else did.
Hugh Morris,
right?
Because he didn't like his name.
Right, exactly. So that's Stone Cold Steve Austin, right? And so why in the fuck did Kevin Owens do a talk show to then abruptly cut it to say, I tricked you, and I want to fight you, and I want to fight you with no rules, but I'm not actually going to have any advantage with like anyone coming towards me or anyone or coming towards me to help me or anything like that. It's just going to be a normal fight. That's the dumbest logical fucking story I've ever heard in my life.
And so we're going into the, like you said, he's coming out for the talk show. Right? He said he might fight you, but he's in his wrestling gear. He's got his knee braces on. He's
and his wrestling boots.
Yeah. Knee braces and the wrestling boots. We've seen him fight just to fight in jeans and boots. He never came to when he just thought, I'm going to fight somebody in just like a street fight in his knee braces and shit. So like already it's like, I was like, all right, we are actually getting this match. Like the moment I saw him, I was like, oh, holy shit. Like this actually is happening, right? Which I guess I expected that anyway, but like it was finally solidified.
But the story,
they're really going to go through with this.
Yeah, but the story and the lack of surprise where he said, I tricked you. Why? Why did you feel the need to trick the guy that would fight anyone?
But we all he even said in his promo, like, call this whatever the fuck you want. I'm coming up to whoop your ass. So like now he's like, I tricked you, I want a match. He's like, good motherfucker. Whap. Like what?
Yeah, it just made Kevin Owens look dumber. And yes. Let's jump out of kayfabe for just a second. And I'm going to be just peeking behind the curtain, guessing on some stuff here, right? Mm-hmm. But if we're going to say, hey, Stone Cold Steve Austin at 57 years old does not want to come out in black trunks and wrestle a match in front of 80,000 people. He would like to be Sting in AEW and wear a t-shirt. You could still build a fucking match between Kevin Owens and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and in classic Stone Cold Steve Austin fashion, started in the back and have him jump Kevin Owens or have Kevin Owens jump him, and then they just fight to the ring in their fucking street gear. Like, that's as easy as it had to be.
Like, you stupid son of a bitch, and banging his head on things all the way up.
Right.
I love that. The crowd would have been going nuts.
And I'm tired. Yeah, he could have said, yeah, he could have grabbed a cameraman, follow me, I'm tired of waiting, bangs on Kevin Owens' door, that doesn't open. He gets some type of contraption, right? He gets a jackass fucking bazooka gun thing, knocks the door down, grabs Kevin Owens, and they start fighting. Hey, he's in his fucking t-shirt like Sting, but that's what he wanted. And there we go. It's like, I just came up with that in 4 fucking seconds. And these dumb motherfuckers thought that a talk show that then would be cut off and then Stone Cold Steve Austin would be hoodwinked was fucking better. You idiots. Fucking idiots. I just want to hit them.
Folks who like still love this and want to catch it every week and, you know, paid to fucking watch this. Like, I know, like, we all know it's not real, right? But, like, you want to watch as if, right? Don't you? Right? Don't you want to watch as if, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, in no way, if you've seen any half or better of the 38 WrestleManias, did you for one hot second believe they were going to main event the first night with a fucking talk show? You knew this was going to be a match. Everybody knew it was going to be a match. Why did we ever have to pretend like it wasn't?
That is, again, that was the most frustrating thing about all of it, because you could have got just the Stone Cold music, walk into the ring, gives the middle fingers, and we just start a match. We could have just did that.
Right.
Or again, if he wanted to be in his street gear and he wanted to be in his clothes, you could have started it in the back, in the crowd, you know, an insult. Kevin Owens could have just grabbed the microphone and just been like, you bald, dumb, bad father. And then that's the thing that sets him off. And he's just running to the ring, right?
Like, build it the other way. He's shit talking. Stone Cold's like, all right, I'm coming there to whoop your ass, and be like, I don't fight unless it's in a sanctioned match. And like, I'm not giving you a sanctioned match. I'm not going to beat up an old man. And he's like, fuck you, bitch. I'm coming. You don't have to be like willing for this fight. I'm bringing it to you. And then, you know, and he's like, no, like if you fight me, I'm suing you. I'm taking everything from the Broken Skull Ranch. The only way I'll fight you is a sanctioned match, right? He keeps saying that. And Stone Cold comes in and damn near beats up, you know, fill in the blank, whoever Triple H fill in would be now to get beat up until they're like, fine, you get a match, right? Adam Pearce, right? He beats up Adam Pearce or whatever.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, that's what happened with the Brock Lesnar thing. Fuck.
Right.
Like, you could have done that,
it's just,
which made sense. I don't know.
It was just the most insulting storyline for Stone Cold Steve Austin to come back after 19 years. After 19 years, your biggest peak star. I know he didn't have the longest run like John Cena, or he didn't, you know, come out of nowhere like Hulk Hogan and like bring wrestling to the forefront. But at his peak, I don't think anyone was more popular. Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Rock, John Cena, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. I don't think in 1998, no one was more popular than him. And for that guy to get this story was fucking insulting.
And the reason that is because, again, as I said earlier, we named a title of an episode once, the moves don't fucking matter.
Right.
I was not.
The story does.
I'm not giving a shit. If Stone Cold is here for another year, I kind of don't care about the Stone Cold match. We're done seeing the greatest matches of Stone Cold's history. What he says and how he fucks with people will be the story moving forward. Right? Like, that's the stuff I want to see, and we didn't get that with this.
1,000,000%. And of all the superstars that you can do that with, Stone Cold Steve Austin is the greatest example of that. His greatest moments were not matches. I mean, some of them are, but it's the Zamboni, it's the beer truck, it's the fill-in Vince McMahon's Corvette with cement.
Promo segments.
Yeah, it was the theatrics around it that made him the greatest of all time, in my opinion. And so, I don't know. Anyhow, that was night one. Night one was fine. Night two, let's talk do we have any more tweet tables about WrestleMania?
We do. We got one that ties into night two. The Rebel Trucker.
Yeah.
The Rebel Trucker in a while. Says,
Good to hear
tweet
from
the table. 76 or not, Vince is still jacked as fuck. Hashtag WrestleMania.
Cool. Wasn't there a fucking guy
old man
who was
jacked,
like,
you know, where it's like,
yeah, but wasn't there a guy in his 80s that was like doing infomercials and he could still do like 100 push-ups in like 10, like who fucking,
Yeah.
I mean, did you see that fucking stunner? He's obviously not coordinated.
how do you, like,
How does he fuck that up?
right.
Like, that's again, if Pat McAfee messes that up, you kind of give him a little bit of forgiveness because you go like, hey man, you know, he's never taken a stunner, but he took it the best. And the guy that's like, I've worked with Stone Cold Steve Austin every day for 4 straight years or 5 straight years, however long his run was, and I take the kick as if it was a shotgun. What the fuck are you doing?
Even like, so the storytelling, right?
Oh,
The whole, first of all, the Austin Theory, Pat McAfee, how we got to that match was a weird nothing story either.
mm-hmm.
But then this whole thing has been a setup for Austin to just kick his ass. So fuck Austin Theory, right? Like none of what he does matters.
Oh, well, yeah. And then also Pat McAfee is going toe to toe and move for move and countering and overcoming Austin Theory, who's in the prime of his life, but like a football kick to his ribs by an old 76-year-old man, that's going to be the death blow for him. Like, he looked like a fucking know-nothing against Vince and looked like a goddamn IC champ against Austin Theory in a matter of moments. And I know Austin Theory, you know, interfered, right? But I'm not trying to say Vince just kicked his ass from pillar to post. But what? For what? For what? Why was that a match? Why was that just not a beatdown? You could have just done the beatdown and Stone Cold comes out. So now, again, jump back in kayfabe world for a moment. Pat McAfee is 2-1, or I believe, I don't know about that cage match. I forget the War Games one, but let's just say WrestleMania. At WrestleMania, his record is 1-1. He's not undefeated because he had to lose to a 76-year-old Vince McMahon, who, by the way, again, fucking wrote all this shit, spoiled the Stone Cold Steve Austin surprise, if you caught it, because I totally did live, because when Austin Theory's music hits, he jumps as if someone's going to attack him. He plays it off, and then Stone Cold's music comes out. Like, you wrote this shit, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
God, he's so bad. I love Stone Cold, and you fucking made me not like it. I don't like that.
I know.
I don't like it.
It just kind of felt sad.
Let's talk about it was a fine WrestleMania. Like I said, if I was there, the moments, that's all they care for. They don't care about stories anymore. They care about, did you see
fucking Bobby Lashley beat Almost? Like, why are you having Almost lose? Like, what?
Well, yeah. Again, they care more about Pat McAfee going viral with his gif of chugging the beer after the stunner than they do about any story they told.
So hear me out, right? Bobby Lashley is the perfect person to finally defeat Almost. But it was way too soon. Like, god damn, man. Whatever. And
then MVP just gets jealous after one match that he didn't go out there with Bobby Lashley, so he turns on him?
Yeah.
Why didn't you go out there with him? We don't even know.
We don't know. Well, if you don't have more WWE stuff, we got one more tweet.
No, let's
transition us to a fun show.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
At Katie's First Lady, she says, CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, and Samoa Joe are all in AEW. What is life right now? Hashtag wrestling, hashtag tweet the table. And, you know, let's couple this off of like ROH is seeming to come back into into fold with Tony Khan running it, and there might be a little crossover and mixing with AEW, and I think that's great. Jay Lethal felt way more at home, as we'll get into, right? And we've got Samoa Joe coming out, and I love if we get a Raw SmackDown level kind of thing going on with AEW and ROH. I love the idea.
The only thing selfishly that I will say that I want is, and again, this is just me being the entitled wrestling fan that says cater to my ever wants and desires, but like, you got to put Ring of Honor on some type of television.
Yes.
Right. Or put it on YouTube, but still present it as Ring of Honor. Don't present it like Dark and Elevation. Right. But like, I don't want, and no offense, I've used it before in the past, but like, I'm not going to pay $15 every other month at Fight TV for the Ring of Honor Super Show. You know what I mean? Like, right. I'm just not going to do it. I want to support things that I like and I like it. But again, this is me splitting hairs and being entitled. But like, if you're going to say, to your point, this is Raw and SmackDown, well, at least put it on something, you know?
But, and I kind of like this too. Like, yes, we have CM Punk, we have Bryan Danielson, we have Samoa Joe. I like that, like, you know, WWE let go a lot of folks, and some folks that come over to AEW, it is kind of that ROH crowd. I know, you know, Seth Rollins might have spent some time there and those kind of things, but he was never really like the ROH guy. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like ROH and its history kind of do exist in a realm that can participate over there away from the WWE stuff, right? Like, I know they were all in WWE at one point, but like, it was not that kind of persona, right? And so I like this. I like where we're going with it.
I do too. And I'm always open. Again, I've said that they need to utilize Elevation and Dark better, because now we get more stories where Jay Lethal seems important, right? Jay Lethal had 2 bad losses, and without the Ring of Honor world coming into the AEW fold, he's just doing some, well, what's going on with Jay Lethal? I don't know. I'm so frustrated, right? But like, that's the curtain jerker of that's the pre-show match, right? But now he can main event a Ring of Honor pay-per-view with Samoa Joe, and it feels important, but he's not going to challenge Hangman next week, right? So that's what I like about it. It's very fun.
Mm-hmm. So then let's get into the best show of the week, AEW Dynamite.
Easily. Oh my God. Yeah, this was way more coherent and enjoyable.
Of television.
This was the diamond ring of television for this week in pro wrestling. We started off with first time ever. And when AEW says it, it fucking actually is real. And now you could say first time ever in AEW, which they've done some of those matches before, but this was the first time ever. They acknowledged all the different promotions that these two guys have been in, but it was the first time ever Christian Cage versus Adam Cole, baby. This was great. What did you think of the match?
Liked it. I liked it a lot. I mean, we've said this before, like, Christian still got some chops in the ring, knows how to tell a good story in there. Adam Cole always gets the crowd hyped, so I didn't find anything necessarily wrong. I mean, I wasn't over the moon about it or anything like that, but I liked the match.
Here's my takeaway from this match is Adam Cole wins, right? And obviously after the match, Red Dragon attack Christian, Jungle Boy and Jurassic Express make the save, and then Adam Cole's like, yeah, this is cool, I'm the man. And then Hangman comes out, and we get a Texas death match on Rampage next week, which shows you how much importance they're putting into Rampage, because ratings have been kind of dipping because it's a pre-tape show and nothing really happens. But anyhow, my takeaway though is if Christian Cage is going to give us these kind of matches, I know he's 40 whatever, right, years old, but he needs to do something, because he can do something, right? Every time he's been given the ball, whether it's the first Rampage with Kenny Omega or the title match with Kenny Omega, or now this with Adam Cole, like, if he's going to do this and do it well, what are we doing next with him?
Just like athletics have evolved, a 40-year-old guy can still be athletic enough to get in there and go in the ring. And like we're seeing Edge have a run, and let's get Christian in some notable singles storylines where he's not tied to dinosaurs, right? Which,
well, let's jump ahead just a little bit. We'll try to go in chronological order, but since you brought it up, we go backstage later on in the show. Jurassic Express with Christian cut a promo, but Christian doesn't even get a word out. He's just pissed that he lost, throws his water bottle, storms off. Jurassic Express essentially say, like, the rankings do matter, but you ain't even on our level. However, you keep kicking our friend's ass, so we're just going to give you the shot because we pity you. And now we're going to get Red Wagon versus Jurassic Express, We're getting dragons and dinosaurs, Tim.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
This
What do you think about that fight?
I am excited.
Yeah.
Like the styles of this are going to clash well, I think, and I think this is going to go over well. The crowd's going to get hyped. Little red.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
But Tim, do you think this is where we get the heel turn of Christian, cost them the titles?
I would love it. Do you think he just switches being a mentor and goes and mentors the undisputed whatever originals?
No, I think he'll do the I'm tired of being tied down to these young whippersnappers. I'm the man who can do this on my own, right? I think that's what we're going to do. All I know right now is in 2022, and I'm not meaning to take a shot, I'm just going to say it, Christian Cage is way more captivating than Edge. Everything Edge has done in his return has been poop. He thinks he's the fucking mastermind of storytelling, and his matches are 30 minutes long and they're 28 minutes too long, and it's fucking not interesting. Edge and AJ Styles could have been the best thing in the world, and AJ gets distracted by Damian Priest just standing there, and that's how you're going to end the match at WrestleMania? Anyhow, what do you think about this Texas Death Match? Hangman Adam Page, Adam Cole. I think one. This is going to be the second one. No, third. We did,
I think it's third.
If memory serves me correct, and again, we don't fact check here, I think the first one is Lance Archer, John Moxley.
Right.
And Lance Archer won.
Right.
Then we did Hangman Adam Page, Lance Archer. And Hangman won. So now we're doing this one.
Like daisy chain? Is it like now Adam Cole's going to win and then he's going to fight someone and they're going to win?
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? But what do you think we get out of this? Do you think this is the end of the feud? This is and new? What's your gut feeling on this?
I think it would be very Adam Cole to win this, be and new, and then go on in a shit-eating grin bragging about how he's a Texas Death Match master and right, like just, and they're out there all healing it up as like nerds trying to act cool, right? Yeah, it wouldn't shock me, but I think I think you're right. I think we're getting this idea that Tony Khan's like, no, we're gonna make sure this Hangman thing hits, right? We're gonna ratchet it up a little bit. And so if we've got to make them a little more gutsy, let's do it. And I think that's where we're going to go with it.
Because I know I said that Lance Archer, again, we don't fact check. There could be something I'm missing here. But if Lance Archer has done the majority of the Texas Death Match, we can pivot from there and say the Cowboy, the Hangman, cowboy shit, this is his signature match, right? Come correct with Hangman, and you're still not going to fuck him up in a Texas Death Match. Even though he's from Virginia, this cowboy can fuck you up, right? And I'm not saying Virginia, I'm just saying the Texas Death Match thing, right? Now, my gut tells me that they are going Adam Cole. And again, the complete opposite of that inbred dumbfuck company, WWE, AEW, for the most part, pay attention to the details. And we still have that one lingering promo in the back with the Dark Order and Hangman, where Hangman picked Jurassic Express to be their partner or his partners instead of them. And I don't know if they're going to cost them or something, but I would not be shocked if this is what happens. This is what my gut said as soon as the whole thing was revealed later on the night when Jurassic Express gives Red Wagon the tag team championship opportunity. It's an undisputed elite gold party, right? They all win. And let's just say Adam Cole wins kind of not straight up, but does, right? And then because Red Wagon took out Jurassic Express and so did Christian, Jurassic Express cannot come to like fight alongside Hangman Adam Page. And then Hangman looks to the Dark Order and was like, hey guys, I need two of you. Tonight we're taking on the Undisputed Elite. And they cross their arms and say like, Go find someone else. And now we get something
Even
with
better.
that.
They get two to agree, right? And they do the whole entrance. They're staying up there. They're doing the thing. They start the match. Hangman's in there. We start the match. Hangman starts getting beat up. He goes to make the first tag, and they go, whoop, see ya, and walk out and let him get his ever-loving ass beat.
Yeah, and he just looks to him with like, you know, the puppy dog eyes, right? And then it's like hyenas that just take Hangman and just bring him into the, you know, depths and darkness of violence. Right. And then it's just the Dark Order going like, guess you don't need us. Yeah. And that could happen. That detail still is out there.
Because like, who's the face and who's the heel, right? Because you're like, that was fucked up. Don't do that to Hangman. But be like, he turned his back on us. And be like, he's not wrong.
And those are the best stories. Right. And so far in the short history of Hangman and AEW, he tells the best stories. Now, again, we got other fun stories, but like his stories are the most captivating. So I wouldn't be shocked if that happens. I think those are the two likely scenarios, though. We say Hangman's the champion. Don't fuck with him in a Texas death match, or something with Dark Order later down the road. Anyhow, next up, we got my favorite segment of the night. It was the Owen Hart Foundation men's tournament qualifier match. Samoa Joe taking on Max Castor. Love this for two reasons. And both of it is they got their shit in. So Max Castor has the lines of the X Division. Hey, we beat you in the ratings when you were their champ. Yeah. All of the stuff. He did his thing.
Always like, yeah, I mean, you know.
Man, fuck it. Yeah. Fuck them guys.
You're right.
God damn it. But what was cool is like, yeah, okay, he's right. Get in this ring. And I'm going to fucking kill you.
That was then. This is now.
Yeah. You can talk all your shit. That's fine. Say whatever you want. I'm going to muscle buster you through this goddamn ring.
And just Max Castor selling like a champ there. Anthony Bowen's on the outside playing his role perfectly. Just all of it. I loved all of this. Samoa Joe doing the schmoney on him.
Yeah.
I mean, like, just got all of it. Loved it. Loved all of this.
Now, one thing, the little side quest here before we get back on to track with the AEW Dynamite side quest comes from Freddie Prinze. You should listen to Freddie Prinze Jr.'s podcast. It's pretty good. Anyhow, I love the Acclaimed, and I love Butcher and the Blade. I really do. And they are the homegrown talent. And I understand the Hardys are the Hardys and Samoa Joe is Samoa Joe. And this was a singles match for Max Castor, so you can kind of get away with it a little bit. But on AEW Dynamite television, not the dark, not the elevation, none of that shit. And it even happens to him a little bit on Rampage as well. I need these motherfuckers to win sometimes, right? I can't tell you the last time Butcher and Blade won a match on TBS or TNT. I really can't.
But they've got an amazing look. They've got an amazing chemistry.
And the promo battle that they had leading into this with the Hardys, and you had Blade talking about the staples he had in his head, and I was just like, God damn, this is the shit. Like, they're awesome. And they need to be treated like it because they're the homegrown talent. I'm not trying to say, because there is one part of WWE when like Sting comes over, it's like, you're losing to our guy. Triple H is going to beat you in this match, right? And now that's not always the case that it should be 100% of the time. But it does tell the audience, we like our guys the best. And so Butcher and Blade, Acclaimed, Private Party, those kind of guys, I need you to win a little bit. But nonetheless. Let's get back on track here. Backstage, Tony Schiavone, who did all the fucking interviews, which I thought was interesting, is with the Blackpool Combat Club. And Regal says he feels sorry for Trent because he's going to have to wrestle Bryan Danielson. And then Yuta is going to have to step in the ring with the meanest of the three of them, Jon Moxley. Fuck that guy. like Jon Moxley doesn't give a shit about you, so... But I like you, but this guy, he probably doesn't, so it sucks to be you. What'd you think about their really emphasis on Rampage and then the Blackpool Combat Club kind of talking their shit?
Well, and I think it's good in that, like, we've identified Wheeler Yuta now, right? Like, and we get more from Wheeler later, which we'll bring up, but I like that they're honing in now And it is kind of what we were talking about, right? It is in that vein of like, hey, this kid thinks he's got what it means to be tough and old school and how it really should be. Like, we'll see, motherfucker. We're about to fucking Stu Hart stretch you, bitch. Right? Like, we're about to get weird with it. You might get a finger in places you don't want. And like, what are you gonna do about it, right? So you don't think you can fuck him? That's right.
Yeah.
So I like, I like it. Again, I think it's slow rolling. So as long as it delivers in these, right, they've got to be brutal when they get in these matches, though. They need to make us think they might be killing these kids.
I also liked what this promo did because it kind of established a hierarchy, right? Where William Regal is, making the moves and calling the shots as far as like the head coach level. And Bryan Danielson is, as far as in their eyes, the perfect pro wrestler. But like the meanest motherfucker, the ultimate boss to get through, to get into this club is that fucking bleeding from his head bastard, Jon Moxley with the cigarette in his mouth. Like, I like that they have established somewhat of their roles where it's like, hey, Bryan Danielson, you'll just have to really wrestle him, right? Like, prove to him that your technique and skill set is there. And then William Regal will look at you and identify where you can fit into this club. But Jon Moxley is just going to beat the fuck out of you because he doesn't like anyone and he doesn't like you. And so you're going to have to prove to him that even though he's still not going to like you, you can at least ride in the car with him. And so I like all the roles.
You can take an ass whooping and keep getting up, basically.
Right, exactly.
To him, right? It's going to kind of beat you into the gang, if you will, right? Like, that's kind of...
Yeah, for sure. It's a little bit of that, a little gang warfare. Let's skip ahead, though, because you did mention it. Wheeler Yuta and the best friends are backstage. Orange Cassidy says absolutely nothing, which is just on brand for him. I like that. But Chuck now speaks up, and he's like, hey, we trained you. We can teach you how to be a pro wrestler. We love you. And then Trent just stops him. Yeah, and Trent just stops him. He's like, nope, I don't like the fucking guy. Fuck him.
I don't love him. Yeah, like he was like, I don't love him. I like that though, right? Like we kind of fast forwarded that part of it where Trent was like, no man, fuck this. Are you ungrateful or what, dude? Like, and like also the like, maybe Trent's not quite aware of how vicious this team is, right? He's like, no, I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna go fucking get out there, and Trent's gonna get fucking smacked hard, and maybe because of help from Wheeler, right? And I like that Wheeler's even like, back off, bitch. I know what the fuck is best for me. Fuck you, right? Like, so I love every way they're playing this right now.
And a little bit of a tear in his eye with Chuck saying like, hey man, why am I not good enough for you?
Right.
Like I and Orange Cassidy.
Parents get divorced too, right? He's like, yeah.
Right. And it makes sense that it's Trent is the one that doesn't like him because Yuta came in when Trent was hurt, right? So like the only reason we even got Yuta in AEW is because Trent had to have neck surgery, and Chuck and Orange Cassidy were like, hey, we need a third. Come on up, bud. And they liked him because they trained him. So it would make sense that Trent's like, 1, you're trying to take my spot. 2, you're a piece of shit. And 3, now you like those assholes who I'm going to kick their ass just to show you that you suck. Like, it's on, This is interesting. The other thing that I think is interesting, just from taking a step back and just looking at it from like a high level overview, is, we go back to, I think it was 1999 when it was ECW champion Mike Awesome, who was going to WCW, taking on WWE wrestler Taz in an ECW show, right? But fast forward to next week, we're getting the ROH Pure Champion taking on the GCW Heavyweight Champion on AEW television. Like, that's crazy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fun. It is fun. All right, so then we get back into the ring. We get Shawn Spears. Hey, I can salute. Shawn Spears with the chair taking on I Can Salute Captain Shawn Dean. There you go. Got my Shawn's confused there. This was the Wardlow segment. This was fun, right?
Yeah, I mean, as fun as the Wardlow segment, albeit and again, a little bit more stalling, right? It's kind of more of the same, but this time it's Shawn Spears, and what I don't know is is this going to happen a little more frequently? And Sean Spears starts to be like, man, this ain't my fucking fight, man. This is you. And now he's also distancing from MJF.
Could happen.
I don't know
the
what
thing
Sean
that I
Spears
thought was
does if he's not somebody's lackey, though. I don't know that we've seen
right.
it.
Well, we did see it a little bit when he was with Tully Blanchard, and that kind of went nowhere because then he did the open casting call for a tag team partner that went nowhere, right? So, but what I liked about this segment is if you noticed on the guardrail, the he can't come into the ring sign with Wardlow was bigger this week. So it was like, this size here. And then this week it was like the whole fucking rail. I like that. Yeah. That was pretty funny. Yeah. I mean, we all know where this story's going. So far, it's fun. If you were there in the crowd, that was a fun moment for you to have Wardlow possibly walk past you as he's trying to get through security. And fun, right? Again.
Yeah, of course.
We're not setting the world on fire, but it's still good.
Right.
Then as mentioned, Yuta with Best Friends promo happens. Then before we get into the next segment, we go to a commercial break, but I want to get your take on this. We get Sammy Guevara making his entrance, and then we get Tay Conti getting her entrance, but the crowd don't like it. I don't know if you heard this, but this was not applause. This was, you guys are too pretty, and I don't like that you like each other. Fuck you.
I think we said this last week or before. They need to lean into that and make them heels.
Yeah. Yeah. Make them making out and just disrespecting pro wrestling, culture. Yeah. Just all over each other. And I think that's the way they go. I know what they're trying to do, but it doesn't work. I know it worked with Macho Man and Elizabeth, but that's a different era and a different kind of love story. But when they tried this with Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, fell flat. When they've tried this with Miz and Maurice, before they even went heel, they tried it a little bit as a babyface. That fell flat. John Cena and Nikki Bella, that fell flat. And this is falling flat too because you're good looking. This is the Roman Reigns problem, right? I'm never going to fucking feel sorry for the good looking guy that can take my wife when he gets his ass kicked. I'm not going to fucking be happy that the good looking people are banging.
And the reason all these failed is because what happened with Elizabeth and Macho Man is like we saw they were together, then they broke up, and then it became like a get back together thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't get they're a couple storyline until we already established before that they were. And so now they are. Mm-hmm. Well, no, I just don't give a shit. If this was Sammy Guevara started noticing Ty Conti, but she was already dating somebody, but that somebody was a bit of an asshole, right? And she didn't recognize it yet. And now Sammy's got a
classic love story.
Right. Again, take your fucking cues from television and movies.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a better story, and I will wholly care about what they have to say. But right now, I do not. I don't care that you went, he's the Spanish god, now she's the Brazilian goddess. Get it? I don't give a fuck.
And it's also right. Well, and it's also of course you guys would like each other. Look at you guys. Duh.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not endearing. It's not.
There's no
hot people like each other.
Care. I know, all the beautiful people back there are fucking the beautiful people back there. I understand that about life. I know that. Yeah, already.
Because even if you tell this story, even if you tell this story in the same way, but the people look different, we still will like that. Remember Otis and Mandy? We liked that, right? Because we were fucking good for Otis.
It was they weren't together and he wanted to be, but she didn't. Yeah. But she kind of did, but she had to keep up this appearance that she didn't. And that's the subtleties that we care about. But just the look, guys, it's true. We are fucking. Be I don't give a shit. Nobody cares. Of course you are.
But it's a little bit of the AEW problem that we've talked about in the past is, if you pay attention to Twitter, that Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti were dating before this storyline happened, right? You knew a couple weeks before or however many weeks it was before.
with him. And
Right. But like
fiance.
you found out on Twitter that they were a couple. But if you're not on Twitter and you're not following them and you're just watching AEW television and they just tell you they're a couple, just like you said, who gives a fuck? Okay,
Right.
cool. Whatever.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I didn't, you never told me before that Sammy Guevara was single. In fact, you told me different. You know what I mean? Maybe bad example here, but same thought process, right? So like now that he's suddenly with someone, isn't like oh, what a surprise. Of course he's fucking one of the hottest girls back there. Like what?
Right. Yeah, look at that guy.
Look at the guy.
God damn
He's
it.
a Spanish god, for fuck's sake.
Right. All right, so let's move on. Then we got the It's on Site segment of the night. Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz are shown just beating the shit out of Jericho Appreciation Society to the point that Kingston throws a full-size, real flat-screen TV at all of the Jericho guys. What the fuck was that?
Well, didn't we see that TV later and it was all fucked up and somebody was like, fix this fucking TV?
No, MJF is like, MJF is
Right.
like, fix that TV. What, I work in a circus?
Yeah.
That's the best line, too.
This promo,
Eddie
man,
Kingston.
These guys were yoked, man. They were ready to go, and I loved it. Loved every second of this.
And
So
Eddie
believable, so
Kingston,
real.
yeah. And Santana Ortiz did great in this. I'm not going to take anything away from them. I think amazing job. They did a believable thing.
Oh, and all praise.
But they
Bono,
kind of
man.
like,
Yeah.
well, but they kind of said it and then just like, okay, like they did a little of the pro wrestler thing, was like, that was the line. Where's the reaction? Shit. And then Eddie Kingston just takes the mic again at the end and it was like, oh, it's sight. And then he's just yelling in like he does the little things that keeps the segment going and keeps you interested. That's one of the greatest attributes of Eddie Kingston.
What I loved was the dichotomy. You had a range of 3 different emotions here, right? You had Eddie Kingston is like literally bouncing off with that like nervous anxiety of like, I'm gonna fucking find this guy, I'm gonna fucking rip his throat, I'm gonna fucking, shove my fucking fist in his. And he's like, no, I can't contain it. And then Santana's just like, look at this fucking crazy guy, like, I'm ready to kick ass with him, but this is fucking hilarious. And Ortiz is just stone faced like, yeah, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like the whole time he's just like no facial expression, just hard, right? Like just sitting there waiting to give you that thin, not too much emotion line of like, yeah, that's right. We coming to fucking get in that ass, right? And I just loved the various emotions we got with that whole motley crew there. It was great. Loved it.
Yeah. And so far Ortiz has been that like scary calm in this group where, have you ever seen the movie The Town with Ben Affleck?
Yeah.
Remember when Ben Affleck goes to Jeremy Renner's character? Yeah, but when he goes to Jeremy Renner's character and he's like, I can't tell you what this is about, but we're going to go and we're going to hurt some people. And Jeremy Renner's just like, well, are you driving or am I driving? Like, it's fucking psychotic. And that's how Ortiz is, to the point where Eddie Kingston threw a fucking TV and Ortiz is like, I mean, these things happen. Like that just happens in a fight sometimes. And everyone's like, and it's almost like the Sean Spears thing from a few weeks back when MJF was beating the fuck out of CM Punk when they were both in all white. And you just saw the like happiness and glee out of Sean Spears. And you're like, okay, I know what MJF is doing right now at the time. I know what Wardlow's doing at the time, but why is that guy fucking laughing right now? Why is he so happy? Like that's the scariest thing of the segment. And in this, it makes sense. Eddie Kingston, it's on site. I don't even care if you're with your kids or your wife. It's on site. Well, and then Santana's like, Santana's like, yep, it is. And this makes sense. And I don't like you either. We got beef, right? But then Ortiz is acting as if they're going to, go out for a round of golf. That's the scariest fucking guy to me, So
yeah, I loved it.
Loved it. It was so good. Then we get a promo on stage, again done by Tony Schiavone, which, look, I love Tony Schiavone. I like the consistency because then it adds, like if it's in the video game, it would make sense that Tony Schiavone is the guy that interviews. However, don't we have like 30 interviewers? Isn't DDP's daughter one of the interviewers? Like she can't do one of these? Yeah, Marvez. No, don't put him in front of a crowd. That fucking sack of wet napkins can't do anything. But it's Tony Schiavone, right? Yeah, fuck him. But it's Tony Schiavone on stage, and he introduces the fucking star. Am I pointing to the right direction? Is this right right here? I'm gonna give it. Yeah, Jade Cargill has just. I mean, she is a rookie still. This is, I believe, actually 30 matches for her, or maybe 35, whatever it is, right? And she's the fucking man. Like, I know what that term means, but like, she's the man. Fucking great.
And just like how she's grown into the charisma of it all, right? Like she's got the crowd work. She's got the stardom down. I love that it was Tony Schiavone. It has to be Tony Schiavone because as she started, she was like, first off, Tony, cut the shit. And he's left there like, the fuck would you think I have done? Like, what could I have possibly, like, you're embarrassing me for no reason.
Because of course.
Still like, the fuck is wrong? Like, why me? Like, I'm a nice guy. I've never said anything bad to you.
Oh, so fucking fun. Ned Flanders.
Just love it. Yeah, but he's finally just like, fine, I'm just gonna go fucking stand over here. Love it.
He's so great. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And I like that, like, that we do have, because she is new and she is coming into it and she's not, you know, maybe always, like, we don't know how she would do if she forgot her lines, maybe, right? So smart Mark Sterling is there, but he's also not overpowering or overshining her either. He's still subtle in what he does. I think he's underrated in what he does. And this whole package is working well for me. Very well.
Yeah, because where he does fill in the details is, you know, they're trying to put over this new wrinkle in the Jade character with the baddie section, right? You just go out there and say it yourself. I mean, some people can pull that off. But when Mark Sterling is like, so at the behest of Jade Cargill, we went to go find baddies, and this fucking town sucks. A bunch of ugly bitches. But like, that gets it over. Yeah, but like, that's the thing that gets it a little bit more attention. And so you're introducing something, but not just saying, sink or swim, Jade. Let's see if you can do it. Like, Mark Sterling can be the person who says, like, if it sucks, again, if it sucks, we can throw it on him. Oh, and that makes sense. He's Mark Sterling, right? But like, to get it over, he can add those details. I love it.
I love too that her whole like approach to all of this is like, what the fuck am I even doing here? This is a waste of my fucking time. Like, everybody knows I'm the best. Like, my fucking shit don't stink. Like, hurry this up. I got shit to do. Right? Like, let's go. These people are stupid anyway. I'm out of here.
She's the best. I really awesome, like her. And she better kill Marina Shafir. I don't give up that anyhow. So Marvez,
we haven't had any reason to, like, have I seen Marina Shafir on AEW television? Like, I don't even, does that happen?
I hope not. Yeah, well, I hope not. She doesn't need to be seen. Anyhow, Marvez is backstage, and this is where he is with MJF and Sean Spears. MJF says he prays that Wardlow shows his face next week. Next week, he will face Sean Dean, and he will injure Dean worse than any injury he had in the military. Ooh. And then he makes the comment about the fucking TV's broke. Fix that. So good.
I love it. Somebody like pick that TV up and put it back.
Well, yeah, because even earlier, before we got the Eddie Kingston segment, Excalibur's like, you might have noticed that the TV's broke. We'll get to that in a second. Like, even Excalibur's like, who's the dumb fuck that just put that TV up?
On the way out after Eddie Kingston threw it, he should have like picked it up and put it back up. Like, hang it.
Gives a 5 to Marvez for his troubles. Sorry about that.
Hands
walks
him the
off.
Remote, like it's gonna fucking do anything.
Yeah.
Just walk out there.
That would have been great.
Oh, I loved it.
All right, so now we get the tables match that made no fucking sense. Now, on paper it did, because it was an elimination tables match where the way you win is you have to put both guys through a table. Okay. Jeff Hardy's the first one eliminated. He goes through a table. But because it's no DQ, he just continues to fight. And then I think it's Butcher goes through the next table, but then he continues to fight. And then we get Jeff Hardy, who was eliminated, putting Blade through a table, which was a cool spot. It was fine. It was a Hardy spot, right? But none of that made sense.
When you're eliminated from winning the prize, you're just eliminated from the match. Why would you even stay there and fight and get hurt?
Well, like in the Royal Rumble, you can't just stay on the outside of the ring. I mean, some people have to pull a person or something, but like refs are working to get that person out of the match.
But you don't go back into the Royal Rumble and then just like keep throwing dudes out.
Right. Now people have, but that was illegal, right? Like once you're eliminated, you got to get the fuck out, Right. So
if somebody doesn't get thrown out third and is still in there at 17, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tossing dudes around, just competing like the rest of the competitors.
Yeah, it just doesn't. And again, the Hardys are fine. I'm going to be completely transparent with the listening audience. I'm already over it. I'm done. They did it. The fucking spot that Jeff Hardy did. Well, but like, I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun to have just the whole like 3 phases of wrestling goth together when you had Sting, Jeff Hardy, and Darby Allin kind of just like standing next to each other. I was like, look at that whole picture of what, weirdos are in pro wrestling, right? That's fun.
Right.
And we got the fun moment where he jumped off the damn window, whatever it was. And that's all I need. Like, go away. What are we going to do? A fucking Young Bucks match that's going to have the same spots? This is where Butcher and Blade need to beat the Hardys, right? Butcher and Blade beat the Hardys, and we go like, that's a feather in their cap. Remember when Private Party beat the Young Bucks early on in Dynamite?
Yeah.
And we're like, they could be someone, and then nothing happened from it. So this could have been something for Butcher and Blade.
You said it. We're getting the Young Bucks and the Hardys, aren't we?
Of course. This is the whole reason they were signed, is because the fucking Young Bucks were like, remember that one Ring of Honor match before the Hardys debuted in WWE? That was really good, which it was. But like, we're going to do that now on our television. And I get it, right? Pro wrestling has done this forever. You take a match that no one saw in an armory, you take those 2 guys and you put it on your television and you go, look at this. And the casuals go like, that's great. Or people who don't pay attention to those wrestlers, that's awesome, right? So I get the logic, but what spots are they going to do that they haven't done before from both teams? We're going to get the fucking jump through the thing and Matt Jackson goes through a table from Jeff Hardy, right? Or something. It's just, I'm already done. This is where the Hardys need to get over their ego, in my opinion. And maybe it's not their ego. Maybe it's Tony Khan just saying, got to give the Hardys a win. I don't know who it is that's making the decision there. But this is where the Hardys got to go kind of Dudley Boys style. Because when the Dudley Boys came back, they lost to the Usos. They lost to New Day. They were putting the teams over. This is where the Hardys got to lose to Butcher and the Blade. And lose to Private Party. And lose to fucking Acclaimed. Like, that should be your role. Instead, after the match, Andrade and his clusterfuck of dumb shits walk out, and Sting, who's never broke a grape with a fucking baseball bat, just chases him off. And again, I love Sting, but like, one fucking old guy in his 60s and we're all fucking pissing our pants? Get the fuck out of here. Surround that motherfucker.
He's got bad hips. He can't swing that bat.
Yeah, he has arthritis in his shoulders. He can't even hold the fucking bat up in a batting stance. Like, just go rush his ass. I don't know. That was the most disappointing segment of the night. What do we got now? Well, we get Tony Schiavone backstage because, again, he has to interview everyone. And Tony Storm, Jamie Hayter. They agreed not to have physicality, but they get into each other's faces and they say, like, I hope I face you because I don't like it. Jamie Hayter does the, like, this was my place before it was yours. And then Tony Storm just does the, like, bitch. Pretty simple, but it looks like we're foreshadowing to that maybe in the Owen Hart Foundation women's tournament.
Should be interesting.
Yeah, and so let's get into that Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament qualifier. Just rolls off the tongue. Hikaru Shida taking on the worst character in AEW, Julia Hart.
Yeah.
Tim, walk us through it.
I mean, we've said it enough. Like, this Julia Hart thing is, what are we going on? 6 weeks of...
Oh, longer, probably that. Yeah.
Of just,
and she does a little stuff right here, right? She does kick out Varsity Blondes before they could even do anything because she starts to do some heel tactics and they don't like it. So she's like, get out of here. Okay. Okay. But let's just look, we love nuance. We love storytelling. That's what we've said since this podcast started 36 years ago. But like, you can't just play the same note. Yeah, we fact checked that one. But you can't just play the same note and expect us to be interested because it's the same thing. She has an eye. Everyone else, we've said this before. Everyone else's eye is healed. Everyone else's eye is healed.
Well,
why is she still wearing that thing?
Yeah, Julia Hart needs to do something new, period, right? If it wasn't this black eye thing, she needed to do something new. But I don't get the sense that we're going to make Julia Hart the evil goth star absent of having her involved with the House of Black guys, right? But we're not seeing the House of Black guys involved in this at all. So I just don't know why we're doing this.
Right. Yeah. There hasn't been any like flickering of lights when Julia Hart walks out or any, I know they wouldn't do this, but like old school Sting, there's no crow on the fucking turnbuckle or anything. You know what I mean? Like there's no checking in on Julia Hart from the House of Black. So yeah, she just kind of looks silly.
People aren't just afraid of her like aura, right? Like there's no weirdness.
Right.
Right.
She tries a little bit. She tries like a weird hand, like a weird wave and kind of like walks a little silly, but that's not enough. No. But Sheeta wins. And then Peter and the chicken, we get it again. They're going to fight forever. Serena Deeb's music hits and it's Deeb comes with a chair, but Sheeta comes out with her fucking kendo stick. And we're like, what the fuck you gonna do? What the fuck are you gonna do? God, I love these two. Fight forever.
Fight forever. Yes. As much as I love Serena Deeb, I love Serena Deeb fighting Hikaru Shida.
And I love Hikaru Shida, but as much as I love Hikaru Shida, I love Hikaru Shida fighting Serena Deeb. And this is where this was like a 7-second interaction, right? Like that's what I love. And that's what I hope for more of from this is, yeah, this is a fucking tournament. So Shida has a knockdown drag out fight with Mercedes Martinez. But then Serena Deeb is right there. And Serena Deeb has a fucking knockdown drag out fight with
Julia Hart.
Tony Storm. Yeah, Tony Storm, right? Someone like that. And then Hikaru Shida is just right there. And they just always like stealing from Eddie Kingston. It's on site with these two. It's on site. That's how they need to be forever. Yep. Love it. Let's get backstage. Here comes that sack of wet napkins. Marvez, he's talking to Swerve Strickland. And Strickland's talking about, I was at the Grammys. It was cool. But, wasn't cool? Getting beat up. Okay. All right. But then Hobbs and Starks are like, fuck you, bitch. And they jump him. Splitting hairs here. Again, where's Hook? Mm-hmm. Where is Hook? Earlier in the night, I didn't mention it because it really wasn't too much to talk about. They did a video package where Hook beats up QT Marshall and all that shit. Okay. But like here, Hook would have been valuable because Starks and Hobb beating up Strickland. And then Keith Lee comes in and he's like, aha, look at me. I'm fucking cool. And then he shoulder tackles Powerhouse Hobbs through the fucking wall.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like he's the shock master.
Yeah, and then you see that massive, vending machine back that he has just taking up the whole screen. I like this. This is the kind of stuff like I'm for. I like the way they're using Strickland and Keith Lee. I love, obviously, how they use Powerhouse Hobbs. Starks, I still feel like just is the sore thumb. He's too Hollywood for this. This is where if it's Hook and Powerhouse Hobbs taking on Strickland and Keith Lee, I'm a little bit more invested because everyone has their roles. I don't want to say this like Ricky Starks doing anything bad, but I just feel like every time I see him, he just got a manicure. So like,
he fits in.
Why would he do this
more than he fits in with
$1,000,000%? Yeah. Yes, perfect. That was perfect, Tim. Yes, Put him with the Acclaim where he just laughs at all the raps and does the scissoring stuff and just like kind of looks at you while he does it. And that's all he does. And then they're getting manicures and pedicures and all the bullshit. That fits with the fucking seashell necklace that he wears and all that bullshit. Powerhouse Hobbs is in fucking Timbs and overalls with no shirt. You know? Hook is always wearing a fucking hoodie and can't be cursed by Danhausen. Right. That's those motherfuckers.
Can't be cursed by Danhausen. That's
insane.
I've personally been cursed by Danhausen before.
Yeah. No, we have a picture. Remember when you took the picture and Danhausen's behind us? And Dan the dad is with us helping?
Curse us. That's right.
He did. Yeah. Here's where, getting a little bit ahead of myself, kind of on step 11 of the storytelling. But here's where Santana and Ortiz versus Hook and Powerhouse Hobbs on site, I'm fucking down for 1,000,000%. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's a tag team that you watch and you're like, yeah, these two guys would legitimately fight over each other. Or, like, over, something very small, but fight forever about it. So, anyhow, let's get to our main event for the ROH and Triple H, or ROH and Triple A tag team champions. FTR putting up both of those championships against the Young Bucks, and this was fun.
Yeah.
Side note, earlier, the Ring of Honor show, earlier in the week, I have not watched it. I have seen highlights, so my apologies. I will get to it in time. New job has me doing a lot of new things. But apparently, the match of the year happened where the Briscoes took on FTR, and it was an instant classic. That's how FTR becomes the ROH Tag Team Champions. And then after the match, that's when the Young Bucks super kicked the Briscoes. I thought that's what we were going to get here, was maybe a Briscoes appearance. That doesn't happen, but tell us about this match. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think expectations would have been high for this match, right? FTR Young Bucks 2, I think they were calling it. And fine, it lived up to that, right? Like, we're not the biggest fans of the style of the Young Bucks, but when these two conflicting styles get together, they make some good television. And, I thought it was solid, right? Give it an A. It was fine. I just, I'm kind of more interested in the Briscoes, right? Like, I'd rather have seen more of that, right? Than maybe the Young Bucks. Yeah.
I will say I did and maybe it's happened before, but again, I'm not a Young Bucks historian, but I liked how in the final moments of this match, it was the Young Bucks getting a little bit of taste of their own medicine, getting the BT trigger thing, but then getting the Adam Cole kiss on the cheek spot and then taking the FTR finisher. Mm-hmm. That was a good, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
And that crowd, that's the first time I have ever heard an FTR chant, right? Yeah. And they were over. This is the year of FTR. We were talking about this before. Back in the day, I took the Anderson and Gallows over FTR. Now, I still think they're a more complete team. I think you can do more things with that team than FTR. But right now, FTR may be the best tag team in the world. They are just hitting on all cylinders as baby faces.
Yeah, I agree with you. Couldn't agree with you much more. They're all over the place. They're doing all kinds of work, and they're maintaining they're not all over the place with their character work and whatever, right? It's straightforward. It's who these guys are, what their motivations are, what their origin stories are, if you will. All of it. I like FTR a whole lot right now. You're right.
Yeah, because the tweak in their character is that they're fighting to become the best and to provide for their family and to be a role model for their family, right? Which is still things they said to a certain degree when they were with the Pinnacle, right? When they were talking about with Santana and Ortiz, hey, we got a family at home. We're going to make sure you don't take food off our table, right? That was still said, but they were heels. So there's just a small tweak now that they're baby faces. So it's not something out of the ordinary. And as they want to become the greatest tag team in the world, it would make sense that they would go to Mexico and face the Lucha Bros or whoever it was, or go to Ring of Honor and take on the Briscoes. And that's admirable, right? It's like you guys want to be the world champions? Then go across the world and fight these motherfuckers. And they're like, challenge accepted. And so that's what they're doing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Done did it.
Yeah. So this was a great episode. I'm excited for Rampage. I think that's next week, not this week. I don't fact check. I watch them all anyhow, but I think it's next week's Rampage.
Yeah, right. But
Texas Death Match
tomorrow.
Oh, this one coming up is going to be fun.
Even this one coming up is going to be great.
Yeah. Yeah. This one, the Rampages are always fun television because I feel like it's the fastest hour in all of TV. So I will watch it every single time. Some of the steam is let out because, for example, on Friday night, you saw, I think it was Top Flight taking on the Young Bucks, or I can't remember who the Young Bucks took on, but the Young Bucks wrestled on Friday night, but then somehow were also at Ring of Honor and super kicked the Briscoes, right? So it's like, well, this is taped kind of, the edge of live TV is taken out of it. So that's why I don't think it hits the numbers that it could. But I also understand, like, that's a lot of fucking television, right?
Live television is infinitely harder than pre-taped. Like
it's also infinitely more expensive, right? You got to have those cameras fucking, right. Yeah. That's where I think, hear me out. This is what I think you do with Rampage. I think since you already have that working relationship with Universal, you put the destination spot for Rampage at Universal. You put it live Friday nights, and I understand the audience is going to be somewhat of the Disney crowd because they're there, or Universal crowd because they're there, but people will go just like they did to Full Sail University for NXT shows. They will go if you're putting on captivating television live Friday nights for Rampage. That's the only tweak I would do. Yeah, right. Make it the ECW arena, right? Call it whatever it is. Call it, what is NXT called their fucking place? It's the Capital Wrestling Center or whatever.
Capital Wrestling Center, yep. Yeah, I think that's true because, like, if you had Dynamite's here on the road show, right, and then home base is Rampage, and once in a while one of the big stars from Dynamite's going to show up on a Rampage, and like one of them each week's going to come do a big thing, but then it's also another place to showcase some of the next level down folks trying to get to that level, right? It creates like a clear, like, hey, you're here, but you want to be here, right? You got to win here, we'll get you here.
Oh, I think there's a lot of great ideas you could do if that's what you wanted to do, was make Rampage at Universal Studios and make it your home base. Because then you could say, for the television championship, right? The TNT championship, this is going to be defended on our home base. Or if you do have a feud of, like, eventually we're going to get championship. But eventually you're going to get down the road where it's like, I've been here since day one. Well, I've been here since day one. So for the soul of AEW, you do it at your fucking home base center, right? Like, that's where I think you could really hit some home runs. And again, make it a destination spot. Tim, you and I would go to, I think it's Orlando, Florida for a fucking Rampage, right? Like, hey, we got a vacation. Go there for. So. Yeah, fuck the state. But you get what I'm saying. Like, nice weather, and my brother's down there. But other than that, fuck that place. Hopefully it drowns. No, I'm kidding. I would go. It would be fun.
Sea levels are rising is all I'm saying. I wouldn't build too many dams. I would just get out of
there. Yeah. Lucky California. Good luck.
Yeah, man. I'm all excited. Dynamite was great. I'm excited for Rampage. WrestleMania is what it was, but we've been saying that increasingly more over the years, so I think we expected that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just excited to watch another week and come back here and talk about it again.
The Spanish